Hello everyone, this is the Sindragosa Heroic Guide from Learn to Play WoW and Arise. The first week we attempted this boss, we had a couple of wipes and then we took her down. So I thought, it's not that hard. I didn't even want to make a guide. I said to myself that the notes on the webpage would be enough. But then the next week, almost the same raid setup, maybe a couple of new people, but just wipe after wipe after wipe. So, after a night of wipes, I was like, okay, Sindragosa, you win. You've beaten me, I give up. You are a serious boss that deserves a guide, I will make a guide. So here I am, doing the heroic guide for Sindragosa. Two major changes for the heroic: the ice bombs and the arcane explosions. On heroic, when the ice bombs explode, if you are not behind cover, you die. Also, you get 6 ice blocks instead of 5. We had 3 ice blocks down and 3 up on the stairs. The 3 that are up have specific marks assigned to them. Skull, square and X had to be up, the rest would go down. If people are killing each other with the ice blocks, you can assign specific marks for each ice block location. That can also work, if players can remember their positions. As players move into positions for the blocks, run up into the wall if you are not marked and look up. See the ice blocks coming down. Immediately after them there will be one ice bomb. This should be your main focus. Don't worry about DPS, just spot the bomb and move behind the block. Don't move towards the blocks too soon or you will get doomed. Don't move too late either or the bomb blast will hit you. Basically, once you've seen the blocks falling down, you know it's safe to move. During this phase, you need to look out for 2 major things, and 2 things only: the projectiles, aka the bombs, and the health bar of your ice tomb. Always adjust your position while watching the projectiles fall to make sure you are completely behind the block. Make sure you hug the block. You want to avoid dying uselessly. You will want to make sure you are not actually killing the people in the ice blocks. You will want to make sure you don't DPS them down completely till after the last bomb. Some people think they can squeeze some extra DPS from this phase by DPSing when everyone else stops. Normally, if everyone switches and just 1 or 2 persons keep DPSing the blocks, then there's no problem. The block's HPs goes down slowly, and that's a good thing because that person will be released in time and will not suffocate. But if too many people think that, oh, it's alright, others will switch and I don't need to, then that's not good. If the person in the block is released too soon, they might just find themselves free, but with seconds to get to cover before a projectile lands. Also, the people behind the block, they suddenly lose their cover, so they are also at risk. That is why the ice blocks are in 2 lines, 3 up, 3 down. In case one of the upper blocks gets DPSed too fast, there is still a chance to survive from the cover of a lower block. But you should really focus on the HPs while dodging the projectiles. Switch target or stop DPS if your block is going down too fast. As the 4th projectile lands, your blocks should all be equally low on HP. Once you get the message Sindragosa landing soon, quickly free the people in the blocks so they will not suffocate. After she draws you in for the blistering cold, you can gain a bit of extra DPS by turning towards her while running out while you're jumping. so you're acting like a hunter that is kiting in PvP. All classes can do this, but melees will have a shorter range area. Don't do this if your chilled to the bone debuff reaches 7. Just use this opportunity not to DPS the boss and to refresh the stacks. The next change in Heroic comes from the way the Unchained magic debuff works. Casters and healers are the ones affected, as now not only do they do damage to themselves, but when they stop casting, they also do AoE damage in a 20-yard radius. Looks like arcane explosion and it can be easily spotted. Players affected should go to a side, either left or right, wherever it's more free space. It's just safe to stop casting after 1 or 2 stacks in phase 1. It's best to stop casting after just 1 stack in the last phase. Just 1 stack because this fight is not so much about DPS. As long as you have only 2 flight phases, you can play it safe and go into this with 7 or even 8 healers. With 8 healers, worst case scenario, if 1 died during the previous phases, 1 DC'd, 1 is ice tombed, 1 has an identity crisis, and 2 have unchained magic on them, then you would still have 2 healers to keep your tank up. 8 healers is a bit overkill, overheal, but if you have good DPS, then you can afford them. In the last phase, when you have to deal with the Mystic Buffet debuff, ranged healers try to detonate your Unchained magic far away from the raid. Don't come with the debuff next to a block to drop your Mystic Buffet unless you really have to. Have 2 ice blocks, 1 left, 1 right. If 2 are up at the same time, DPS the older one unless the tank tells you to delay it a bit longer. Melees can reset their stacks every second ice block if they are not feeling flimsy. Ranged should know that Mystic Buffet refreshes itself when it reaches 2 seconds. You can look at your debuff or use the DBM timer. This enables you to play a bit of a hide and seek game with Sindragosa. Pop from behind an ice block, DPS a bit, then hide back before the timer reaches 2. Healers assigned to tanks can do the same thing. The debuff dodge strategy allows many of the players to get relatively few stacks of the buffet, decreases the overall healing needed for the encounter, and also brings up a method for dealing with the last phase. Ranged stay full time on the boss. Melees stay mostly on the ice blocks. This makes the ranged not have to switch target to the ice block each time they go behind it. Just dodge for a second, then pop back up. This also makes the melees not have to move up and down between boss and ice block. If too many melees in raid, then those melees shouldn't take down a block before the next one is up. If too many ranged in raid, then ranged should help DPS a block if there are 2 up at the same time. The same rule applies. If there's 2 blocks up, DPS the older one. If there's only 1 block, don't take it down before the next one spawns. Properly and easily noticing people that are about to get ice blocked is important, so you can stay clear of them. By default, DBM also marks players with Unchained magic. This brings confusion because you can have too many marks on the field. Raid leaders and assistants should have the extra marks disabled. Everybody will then be able to clearly spot the skull with the arrow on top of him, and they will stay away from him. Try to reset your debuff stacks as often as you can if you are ranged. Try to reset it every second ice block if you are a melee. Reset it even more often than that if many of your healers are down and you feel your HP is fluctuating dangerously low. That's it for Sindragosa. I wish you the best of luck and the best of drops. Also, I wanted to say I've made Twitter and Facebook accounts for Learn to Play WoW. If you are interested in using Twitter or Facebook to be notified when I release new guides, feel free to add me up. Links are below this video. I hope you enjoyed this guide. Thanks for watching.